Welcome back to the International Dota 2 Championships West Qualifier here at the Good Studio. We're getting ready to go into our last match of today of Group A, and it will be the match to decide who will come out first in the group and qualify from day one, first place in Group A, and will move on to the final group and be one of the 4 final teams once both Group A and B have finished. The final match is going to be against Absolute Legends, the surprise so far of Group A, versus DD Dota, someone who came out very strong. Not so much of a surprise. People had an inkling it could happen, but they just looked so good. Very minimal mistakes, and everyone playing a very high level of Dota here. So before we get into the match, though, Bruno, you've got something for us?
I want to call a friend, and I also want to fix my mic, but I will not be able to call the friend here because it is not the computer that has the audio. So, Andy, can you call my friend for me?
It's happening. Something's happening. Will he answer?
Will he answer? That's the big question. Did you tell him?
I was talking to him moments before we came back.
Oh.
So if he doesn't pick it up, then...
Howdy.
Hello, friend. How are you?
How you doing, Stats Man? Good to talk to you.
Do you recognize the voice?
Yeah, it's the one that's not as good as God's.
Yeah, exactly. The guy, the other guy.
Yeah, it's me, Gods.
Hey, LD.
How you doing?
Yeah, good. How are you?
Great. I've been enjoying the games today. I've been seeing quite a few heroes that are not really getting picked a whole lot of either. I liked that Lycan earlier, although it didn't work too well.
Yeah, with the Omni Knight.
Greedy,
also
man.
really nice, but...
It was, and it's not Rock's Kiss, like that kind of style. I don't know. I was disappointed. Like, they're a man up and go fight, and there were some heroes that were not very man up and go fight in that game. Can't approve.
It was tough. It was tough for them, but they will have another chance playing against Empire. And speaking of Empire, kind of a disappointment. We expected more of that team. What were your thoughts about that?
I mean, you look at them on paper, they have some fantastic players, but anyone who's watched them play leading into the qualifier, I can't say I'm really surprised. They just seem like they don't really have a clear objective necessarily with their drafts, and the execution just isn't there. Light of Heaven has been improving, I would say, since he's taken sort of his hiatus and come back to the game, but it doesn't really feel like a well-oiled machine. They feel kind of discombobulated, at least to me.
Yeah. I mean, well, as I said again, they have one more chance. If they lose the next match, they're out. If they win, they have a chance against the loser of this match. But I mean, we'll keep talking about the Western qualifiers as they are going. But I think you made an announcement today, right?
We did. We released the groups for the East qualifiers, and I'm pretty excited. I feel like they're very balanced groups, and while I don't expect too many surprises, there are potential spoilers, I feel. At least a game here or there could kind of throw things off, and it sets up a pretty exciting second stage as well.
Any kind of information specifically you can give us on the groups and what you think is quite interesting about them for any viewers that haven't seen them?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at... I would say both groups, you have your 2 Chinese teams who are going to be the favorites to advance out of those groups. So LGD China, Rising Stars, Rattlesnakes, as well as Vici Gaming. I think out of all the other teams, Myth Trust is probably the one team I would look at and say they're the most likely to have a shot at sort of playing the role of the spoiler. I could see them advancing over someone like Rising Stars, but that's hard to call because even Rising Stars, at least for me, when I first started watching that team, they were the Chinese team that picked Wisp, and that's sort of what made them unique and special, at least in competitive play, but they've done a lot more than that recently. They actually took a series off of Orange Esports. I mean, and Orange, arguably the strongest Southeast Asian team, if not the strongest, that's certainly up there with Zenith. So I feel Myth Trust, out of all of sort of those Southeast Asian teams, the most likely to probably cause an upset or at least give teams a run. They're kind of the dark horse for me, but at the end of the day, if I had to put my money on it, I'd have to say all 4 of the Chinese teams, I expect them to advance. And of course, there's a soft spot in my heart for Mineski because I love my Pinoy fans, but chances of advancing ain't looking too good. Gods will argue otherwise.
Going back to, I mean, obviously, if people don't know, the East qualifiers are going to be hosted by Beat the Studio.
Beat the
Studio, Beyond the Summit. It's still BTS, okay? We're rebranding you with Gods, LD, and Lumi, and I'm excited to see what you guys have got in store for us over there, and that will be happening once the West qualifiers conclude, which will be finishing up on Sunday. But talking about the West qualifiers, LD, Absolute Legends, they're in the upper bracket match to go against DD Dota. You're shocked, yeah. We were shocked, but they played good, right? Like, I mean, maybe Rock's Kiss didn't play what they wanted, you know, the kind of style that you wanted them to play, But did you not see some, like, what did you see out of Absolute Legends?
Miguel just face rolled all that Slark, man. He was playing like a boss, and I don't think it helped that he got, at least the one game I saw, he looked like he's leading against Nature's Prophet. I was kind of watching the game's half attention, so if I say anything wrong, then sue me, I guess. But it seemed like his lanes maybe weren't the toughest, but he did a great job, and I mean, that hero's really risen to prominence as of late, has he not? I hope to see more of it. It's a fun hero. It's very annoying to play against. To actually kill a Slark takes so much, and I won't say I'm shocked. I'm shocked that Rock's Kiss were the team that lost them. I'm not shocked that Absolute Legends is making a bit of a run, but at the end of the day, I feel like Rock's Kiss is going to come out of that lower bracket. I'm going to say now, I think DD will take care of AL pretty convincingly. AL's going to drop down, and I don't see Rock's Kiss losing to them again. I think you guys mentioned that you felt the same way earlier. It's going to be a different series, and for me, it is too. I think they'll go back to more of kind of their aggressive, head-on, confrontational lineups, and that's something that I think suits them better.
All right, yeah, well, it's great to get your insight, and we're looking forward to what you guys are going to be doing. We started off perfectly today, by the way. I don't know if you know. We had everything
I'm glad
working
you guys
fine.
went first.
Yeah.
Because you fucked everything up, so it's okay. We can't do anything wrong now.
We're doing it for you.
We did it for you guys, just to give you an easy time. We did it on purpose.
That's why we let you go first, James.
Yeah.
You make us look good now. Also, we're going to steal all your production. So.
Okay, cool.
Wow.
Just before you leave, I guess anything you can say about how you guys are doing in terms of preparation for the Eastern qualifiers before we get back into the game here at the Western qualifiers?
We're doing pretty good. We have most of sort of the basic hardware infrastructure is set up, like all the cameras, the mics, the mixer, everything's talking to each other. So we know we're not going to like show up and onto the broadcast. We won't have video. At the same time, it's one thing to have everything connected and talking to each other. It's a totally another thing to make it all work together. And Trance has obviously been helping us a lot. And on top of that, well, we're just not sleeping very much. So hardware-wise, I think we're pretty set. We have a lot of content in preparation. Hopefully all of it will be ready. There's a lot of stuff we want to do that if it's not ready for the start of the qualifiers, maybe we'll be ready as we move forward. And if not, then certainly for future events. It's going to be our first big studio event. So I won't lie, I'm really nervous, but I'm excited. I mean, it's been a long time since we announced our Kickstarter. It's been about 7 weeks since the Indiegogo actually ended officially, since the funds were dispersed. So I'm just ready to have the damn qualifier. I'm just ready to unveil the studio. I'm really excited. I'm nervous, but I think it'll go well.
Yeah, I think that's how the players feel as well in this tournament. They're excited to be here. They're nervous about the outcome. But we wish you the best of luck with everything. Thanks for coming on, and we hope it goes well and you only fuck up more than us.
Thanks, James. Thanks for having me.
No problem. See you there, LD. So having LD on, the East qualifiers, as he mentioned, pretty excited about the Chinese teams in terms of they are the favorites. And of course that will be happening after the West qualifies, but we're currently in day one, and I guess that we should do some stats and get ready to go into the game.
Yep, and we're going to talk a little bit about Absolute Legends versus DD, the matchup that we're having right now, and we're going to see the versus screen. Trans?
He's on it, look at that.
So we have a very nice logo of DD versus Absolute Legends. 222 games played for DD, 124.98. Of course, not all those were with the current squad of DD Dota, because they used to play with what actually was, what actually is AL right now. I think 3 of their players used to play in DD Dota a few months ago. And Absolute Legends, 114 games, 58-56. Let's talk a little bit about how they played against each other recently. DD won their matchup against AL in the Star Ladder 5. But AL took the matchup against DD and EMS Cup. This was not during the finals, but also in the online part of the EMS Cup. And then you have the key heroes maybe for these two teams. Not in terms of globally, but what we've seen today. And LD was right. The key hero was that Miguel Slark for DD. I think it was crucial. They didn't pick it the first game. They didn't win, but when they had it, they did whatever they want with that Slark. And for Absolute Legends, it was a little bit hard for me to choose because they didn't repeat any single hero between both games. But that Luna in game 1, when they got her rolling, there was no way of stopping her. So if you give him something like Luna again, they will be able to do something super strong.
Yeah, and of course, Slark, a very interesting hero pickup. Maybe we'll see it again. If you're interested in learning a little bit more about Slark, you can always head over to reddit.com/r/Dota2, and actually the community have made a thread about, talking about Slark in competitive play. So if you're not too familiar and you're checking out Dota for not one of the first times, but you know a little bit about it, maybe some other Team RTS games, you can go check it out there and see what the community is saying about that hero and if it comes up in the match today. So we're ready to go into the game, unless you got anything else?
Nope. We want to introduce the teams because...
Oh, yeah, we have to do that. I forgot.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah. There's players in these teams.
There's players. You want to do DD? I will do...
Yeah, so it's going to be Silent on the carry, Funzy mid, Aking Mad playing the off lane, Shoska and Goblak on the supports, and overall, there's not one you can pick out that's been fantastic. They've all played great. For Absolute Legends, Unicorn on the carry, Miracle mid, who has a lot of experience. And this is actually Bruno's segment, but I'm talking a lot today.
You really want to talk today, so we'll let you.
Miguel, who's been playing fantastically.
He's concerned in that picture, though. He's like,
he is. He's
need to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, he's wondering which direction to pounce and why on the off lane. Mania playing support and also Rise on the support. And yeah, I'm talking a lot today. I'm actually just pretty excited.
That's
like the last time I did a big Dota 2 thing was TI2, and honestly, I wasn't playing much Dota 2 before that. And since then, I played a lot of Dota 2. Andy showed me the ways of blaming your teammates, which made it a lot easier to play Dota 2 and lose. And so I've just got into it. And it's, one of my favorite games out there with Quake. So pretty excited about the tournament here. And that's all I have to say. I'll talk less now. Bruno, please take over.
As I take over, I say, Andy, please move into the game.
Excellent segue. Flawless. But we are inside the game, of course. It's going to be AL taking on DD. Personally, for me, this matchup, I have to favor DD just a little bit. We saw Absolute Legends earlier get the better of Rock's Kiss. It was a really intense best-of-3. Went to the game number 3. AL edged him out. But still, just how solid DD just played against Empire. You can say whatever you want about Empire's current iteration. It's not as strong as it used to be. It's not really... They're not on the same page, like LD said, whatever you want to call it. DD still played amazingly well those games.
Yeah, I mean, they controlled the game so well. Overall, like the first game, it was just perfect control with Luna and the Shen. And the second game, it was just... They just didn't give any room whatsoever to Empire. And now on paper, I wouldn't just give a small advantage to DD, I would actually give a big advantage to DD on paper. But with the upset that Absolute Legends did in the first game, I wouldn't be surprised to see at least Absolute Legends taking one game, maybe even taking the series.
Yeah, I got to favor DD here. Absolute Legends, it would be awesome to see a true underdog story come from possibly the lowest in the group in terms of how far you're expected to go to making it basically on the first day without dropping a best-of-3. So we'll see if Absolute Legends can actually pull it out. This is going to be their biggest test. And DD... After watching, or maybe even just hearing about the other games that AL played, they banned out the Slark in the first 4.
Quite understandable, especially since Slark got picked up in the first 3 in one of the drafts. So, I mean, if you don't want to play against a hero, then you don't want to play against a hero. There's still so many heroes in the pool, which I feel is a bit surprising that we haven't seen. Mag still not picked up. Overall, Mag has not been favored to be picked up. The 2 times he wasn't banned, he wasn't picked up in the first series, and then in the second series he got picked up, but it was in the last pick phase anyway. So it's just he's kind of been lying there, just not really doing anything. So we'll see if he gets picked up now. Works well with the gyrocopter though, so
yeah,
let's see.
Always going to be a potent combo. But I like the duo that Absolute Legends has actually put together here. As soon as they see the Gyrocopter, they take the Lifestealer, very often seen against Gyrocopter in competitive play, but they take the Bane too. They take away a hero that can make Lifestealer's entire game just awful. Like, there's nothing more frustrating than getting enfeebled or getting Fiend's Grip when you're raged, especially. You get disabled. You can't really get the damage dealt that you need to. And they can still partner it with something else like Alina. Maybe we're going to see DD actually pick up a Shadow Demon here. But for AL, I feel like their style and DD's style are actually a little bit more similar. And wow, talk about unexpected. Not even so much to Treant, because Treant has been seeing some play. But they bring out the Outworld Devourer. That is a hero who... not long time ago, but a little while ago, Empire actually experimented with. I know that Team Liquid actually did the same thing for a little while, but He is a mid dominator. His damage output is absurd, and it's very difficult to deal with him in a one-on-one matchup.
Yeah, and right now they only have one hero that's actually going to be able to withstand the OD, and that's the Lifestealer, because he's going to have Rage, but then you got the Gyrocopter that can do physical damage to him anyway, so it's really nice to see him actually in the first 3. I can't say I'm super surprised about it, with DD being the drafters for this, especially since I've been able to watch some of their scrims as well, and some of the games they played against other teams. They like to pick the Treant and the OD quite often if they can get it in the first 3. So it's really nice to see OD getting play though, because it's a really fun hero to watch in my opinion. Because mid, it's like 2 Astral Imprisonments against the Mag, and he's like 36 mana. 1 against the Nikes, and he's like 19 mana. It's like, what do you do against that? It's so hard to play. So we'll see what he can actually do. But the biggest thing is, right now, it's only the Lifestealer that can actually withstand him. They need to pick up some other BKB carriers.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, especially because Lone Druid is always relied upon as being like that frontline hero. You know, you walk in, but mass armor and mass HP against Arcane Orb, it's like, doesn't really matter. OD still hits incredibly hard, and he's going to burn through that HP in no time, especially when he uses the Sanity's Eclipse. So the one interesting thing for me is OD often kind of looked over, but in the defensive game too, if you Astral Imprison your own teammates, perhaps they get Fiend Script, perhaps they get Open Wounds, it functions very similar to how you would with a Disruption from a Shadow Demon. Sure, you don't get the images, but the whole purpose is basically to either save that hero or maybe try to get closer to go for a kill. So the utility is still there, and I do love the fact they decided to pick him up here. It's something new that we haven't seen, at least in the West qualifiers as of yet, but 2 more bans still coming out, 1 from each side. It looks like DD still taking their time here, and Absolute Legends have 1 more to go. So they ban out the Mag. They're not going to want to have to deal with the Empowered Lone Druid, which we have seen already today can be quite potent as Ale takes out the Shadow Demon.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to see the Mag being banned out in this phase, because we talked about it before. That's one of the strongest Tricore you can have, having the Mag, the Lifestealer, and the Lone Druid, because the pushing power coming out of that, as well as the Nike's Bomb with the Mag, is just so damn good. And then you have the Cleave, of course, for the RP as well. So not a big surprise to see that. And then, of course, banning out the Clockwork that AL likes to use quite a bit, running it in mid if they can, and the Nature's Prophet that they love to use for swift pushing.
And this is kind of scary for Absolute Legends, because the team fight that DD actually have right now, you look at Treant Protectors, his ultimate, not really seen as like the game changer or anything like that, but if you can just hold people in place for a cooldown, some flat cannon shots, maybe a Sanity's Eclipse, and now a Shrek stun, just the AoE that they have, they can kind of just waltz up and take a team fight. They don't have any fantastic initiators right now, but if the Treant manages to get a blink and not sure what role he's going to be playing yet, if they can force the fights, like you were saying, the only side or person on the side of AL that can do anything about that is the Lifestealer. Everyone else is just going to have to stand there and pretty much take it.
Yeah, it's going to be so hard for AL to just get in and fight on them. I mean, Lifestealer has Rage to break it, but the Lone Druid, he's going to be stuck with Despair when you cast that Overgrowth, and then you're going to have a Leshrac with his ultimate just pulsing around, and then the Sanity Eclipse as well from the Outworld Devourer. So it's going to be a lot of damage coming out of DD at this point, and we're going to see Lina being picked up. So they got a really good aggressive try-in if they want to go for it, Absolute Legends right now, which I wouldn't be too surprised to see. The good thing for DD though is that they have that Treant Protector with the armor, and that can really stop the aggression.
Yeah, that's why I'm really curious to know how DD is actually going to run this. This is where I wish I got to see some of their scrims, because it would be easier for me to say, oh yeah, they're totally going to like offlane the tree, or they're going to put the OD mid, which I'm sure he will be mid, just because OD is so unbelievably good in that role. The danger here for DD is, where is this tri-lane going? Because if the Bane and the Lina are going to be rotating, the OD is a viable target for that. He can very easily be picked off by that kind of a gank. Sure, in team fights, Astral Imprisonment might be able to save you, but all in all, if you get caught out by yourself in a 1v2 or a 1v3, very seldom is that ability going to be able to save you. So we'll see if Absolute Legends can exploit the gank ability, basically, of this OD.
I'd say it really depends on what the mid hero Absolute Legends go for at this point, because they need something that can actually follow up on the Bane as well as the Lina. As we're actually going to see an Enigma being picked up for DD as less big. But if they have a mid that can actually go in and help them, maybe a Puck to get some mobility and just lock down DD's team so they aren't as mobile, then they can actually get some good pickoffs on the OD in mid. The problem with having a Puck is that you're pretty much going to boom all the time, so you're not going to be able to use your orb. So you kind of have to have a hero that isn't too mana reliant. I mean, of course you're going to be mana reliant on every hero, but still you need something that can actually just right-click and get the extra damage in if the support starts to roam. So we'll have to see what AO wants to go for. TA is still in the pool. Wouldn't actually be too bad, because if you get the refraction out before he's 0 mana, then you can actually do quite a bit of damage, and you can harass the OD quite well.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm kind of leaning towards what you said earlier, though. Like, the BKB hero would be really nice, especially a mid who goes for an early BKB. I mean, I really want to say Shadow Fiend right here, because if you think about it, if he BKBs, that team does almost nothing to him.
Yeah.
And the supports from DD aren't going to be moving. I mean, it's an Enigma and a Leshrac. They're going to be going for a fast tier 1, possibly, but I seriously doubt they're going to be doing any roaming of their own. You have a tree in offlane, and then a Gyrocopter farming bottom, potentially the Enigma offlane, I guess, if they want to do that too. So, yeah, Absolute Legends taking their time here. Not really sure what their last pick is going to be just yet, but it is somebody who, at the very least, has to be able to go mid unless they want to put their Lone Druid in that spot instead. But a lot on the line here for both of these teams. Like James talked about it earlier, this is where you want to win.
Mm-hmm. And you want to get the momentum going as well. Winning the first game is quite big in a best of 3, of course, because if you can actually get a good draft in game 2, you're going to have a lot of momentum moving into that game. So the first game is always very important moving into a best of 3. But on DD's side, I believe they actually run the Treant Protector in a support role. So I'm wondering if they're going to run...
Ooh.
Oh, we're going to see a Tinker as the last pick. I wonder if they're actually going to run the OD maybe in safe lane instead, and run the Leshrac mid. But it feels like kind of a waste to do that. So I wonder how they're actually going to lane this.
Well, after seeing the Tinker pick, I would imagine that it is going to be an OD mid, just because it does really, really well against any intelligence hero. Honestly, I'm surprised they picked that. Maybe they're going to send Unicorn mid, and maybe they're just going to put Miguel in a lane where he can just farm, like 1v1 top, against the Treant, which would probably give him okay farm, maybe not fantastic, but it's definitely a better alternative than going mid versus Funzy and not having any base damage to last hit and not having any mana to spam abilities. So we'll see how AL wants to work this out. I do kind of favor DD in the very early laning phase, but AL have the potential to go for early kills here. I would expect to see Mania, Miracle, and Rise. Yeah, they are all going to be heading towards that bottom lane, so it's looking to be an aggressive tri-lane coming out from them. And while we're on the subject, might as well introduce the team on the side of AL. So, of course, we're going to have Mania playing on that Life Stealer. The Tinker is going to be played by Miggle. Lone Druid is going to be played by Unicorn, XO. He's actually played that quite a few times today. Rise going to be playing on that Bane, and finally Miracle going to be playing on Alina.
Yep. And on the side of DD, we got Goblek playing that Treant Protector, so it's going to be a support Treant. In mid, Funzy's playing the Outworld Devourer. And then we got Leshrac being picked up by Soksha, so it's going to be a support Leshrac down in the bottom lane. Fucking Mad is playing the Enigma, and he's actually moving up to the long lane at this point, so we're going to see a long lane Enigma. And then, of course, we got Silent playing on that Gyrocopter in the defensive tri-lane in bottom.
Yeah, it's a scary situation, actually, if you think about it. If you're going to be jungling against possibly an aggressive tri-lane, you can't really rely on committing like a support to helping out the jungler the whole time. So in this case, he's just saying, look, if I'm going to be 1 versus 1 against either a Tinker or a Lone Druid, I'm okay in that matchup either way. Actually, I feel as though Enigma's going to do quite well against a Tinker, because you can get like a couple of ranks in a March of the Machines, but the mana cost is quite high to keep that going, and the push potential overall from this Enigma is going to be a little bit more, and its last hitting capability is going to be a bit better too. So DD with some, I wouldn't necessarily say new lanes, but definitely innovative to say the least.
I feel that AO did a really good decision now when they actually rotated the Lone Druid to go mid instead, because he's a hero that is not mana reliant whatsoever. Yep. I mean, his Barrack can last hit all the time, so he's not going to have to use his hero to last hit, which is going to be really, really good. The thing is, though, that Enigma would have worked well against both heroes that AO wanted to put top. Now they put the Tinker top. Enigma, I feel, like you mentioned, works really well against that, and it would have worked well against the Lone Druid as well.
And Bucking Mad just does not care, man. Those conversions split, and he's just doing a ton of harassment right now to Miggle. But Miracle actually makes his way up here. There's the tree and armor. The stun's going to land, and you can see just the impact that it has. You might want to turn this around a little bit. Unfortunately, his conversions actually ended up going away, so he wasn't able to get any more follow-up damage. But just the ability to stand in this lane at all, this is all because of the Treant Protector.
Mm-hmm. And one thing I do actually like with the last pick going for a Tinker, this is such a turtle-heavy lineup that it might work out in the end for AL, because they're going to be able to turtle up a BKB if they want to go for something like a BKB on the Bane, maybe on a support, to be able to get that. Tinker most likely won't go for a BKB, but they'll be able to turtle up enough farm that they won't just get insta-killed by the combination that DD got, with the cooldown, the overgrowth, as well as the Sanity Eclipse from the OD. So Nightmare actually going on to Funzy in mid. We'll see if they can actually make something happen from this. Oh, Rice broke it himself, so nothing really going to come out of that.
It's just so difficult to gank with Treant armor. Like, the rotation of any of AL supports basically has been nullified so far by just that ability. So even in the top lane, when Miracle made his way up there to try to apply some pressure to Bucking Mad, as soon as the armor came out, it's like, well, your follow-up damage is just going to be non-existent. You're not going to be able to get the kills. So far, that Treant pick actually helping out quite a bit in this case. But I don't think that the Enigma is necessarily going to be getting a whole lot, but he can still deny creeps pretty consistently from that lane.
Yeah, he should be able to get some farm. I mean, he's not going to get the same amount of farm he's going to get in jungle, but it's a good hero to put up here. I would actually like to see maybe run an aggressive trialing from them, because whatever hero they would have put up there, they probably would have wrecked it with an aggressive trialing. It's hard to get in when you don't have a setup stun for the Leshrac, but still, if you can get in and get the slow from the Treant, it's going to be easier to hit it. And then you got the Gyrocopter follow-up. But, like we mentioned though, Enigma probably is going to be able to get some farm. Stun is actually going to go out, and he might go down here if the last auto attacks. Oh, Treant armor.
Yes, the Treant protector armor. I'm pretty sure Goblax actually... Was that level 1 Treant armor? No.
Yeah.
No, it was. He's only level 1 still, and he managed to save him with just that. So, again, just saving people from really, really bad situations. Excellent awareness coming out from Goblax. Manages to take away First Blood from Absolute Legends again.
Such good play.
Well, as it stands right now, honestly, I gotta say, DD are getting the better of the early laning phase. Sure, the Tinker is still sitting on overall top of the last hits, but 3 of the 5 that are in the top 5 last hitters are all basically on the side of DD. Plus, they're getting full use of their jungle. Actually, on the side of AL, it looks like the Lifestealer's actually made his way back up here, so he's not going to be sitting bottom lane anymore. And then, of course, we can see Miracle and Miguel both sitting up here in top lane versus Bucking Mad on that Enigma, who's actually level 4. So he's actually getting quite a bit of experience here.
Yep, and that's really good for him though. Miguel getting quite a bit. He's going to get really fast BOTs in this lane if he keeps on farming like he is. Should be able to get him around the 7-minute mark. He picked up boots though, so it might take a bit longer, maybe 8-9-minute mark. But the good thing though is that Rice, being down in the bottom lane, he can actually stack up the Ancients. He's done it once, and he should be able to just keep on doing that. So there's going to be a lot of farm for the Tinker once he actually hits those BOTs.
The thing about Ryze is he's level 1, and it's 4.5 minutes in, so he's going to have to actually leech that experience if he wants to be useful. Otherwise, there's just going to become this point where it's like your Bane's like level 3 or 4 at like 10 minutes in. That's not really contributing a whole lot. You really want him to get 6, just so you can catch out maybe Funzy or anyone else, basically. And yeah, we can see the matchup here. Middle lane, it's Funzy versus Unicorn, and Funzy is actually doing reasonably well. Lone Druid is one of those heroes where you look at him and you're like, he just beats everyone, you know? It's so hard to lane against him, but the OD is actually standing relatively strong here. He's opted to go for the Tranquil Boots just to allow himself to stay in lane. If he happens to get any lucky Essence Aura procs, he'll be able to use them indefinitely.
Yeah, the good thing with having the OD mid, like we said, Lone Druid is not really going to be too hurt with being Astral in prison. The thing is, though, that when you get forced to last it with a bear, you're not going to be able to harass with it. So OD, of course, can just stay in the lane all the time and just get as much farm as possible, as long as they don't manage to deny, or as long as Unicorn doesn't manage to deny the creeps from Funzy, of course.
So far, it's pretty much just been farm everywhere. The 2 highest last hitters actually both sitting at 28, as Funzy gets rooted there for just a second. It's 29 and 15 now, currently, for Gyrocopter, and then Tinker sitting at 29 and 4, and then the mids are pretty much dead even too, so it's like both teams getting a pretty good chunk out of the early game. DD is barely edging them out in terms of overall experience and gold, but it's by so little that we're really not going to get a good idea of who's going to come out on top here, aside from this gigantic Ancient stack, which is going to be great. And Miguel is actually probably going to be close to 7 soon, if he's not already there. Yeah, he's halfway to 7. So all he needs, basically, is to get level 4 of March of the Machines. He's got a Soul Ring and a bottle. He can actually kill that whenever he wants.
Yeah, he can just go there straight away. Since he's not actually rushing the BOTs, getting the Soul Ring and the bottle before, it's going to make him able to just go and clear that up right now if he wants to. They might just stack it once more, to be sure, but he's level 7 now, so level 4 much of the machines, and they should be able to kill that off quite easily.
They're applying some pressure to this tier 1, but not too much emphasis being put on it. Actually, 4 members of AL currently converging towards that middle lane. They are looking for Funzy. They're salivating. It's like, man, we really want to try to get some kill on the board. We don't want to give Funzy just that complete uncontested early game that makes him such a threat. And he actually just got Essence Aura from his Tranquil Boots. So he went from no mana to getting mana for free. So really, really nice utilization of his skills right there. And he's going for the quick mech. So really nice pickup for him too. That means the Enigma is going to be able to go for a BKB or a Blink, whichever one he decides. I'm kind of feeling like a Blink would be better just to get in the proper position, and he has things like Treant Armor to help him out, so it's not like he's just going to die if he blinks in, but we'll have to see what his choice is going to be.
Yeah, and even with the BKB, you got the Fiend script that can still stop the black hole, so a Blink wouldn't be too bad just to be able to catch them off guard, especially if you can hide the Blink to start off with, because if he can get a black hole on the Nikes before he actually rages, then you can get the Sanity Eclipse out and pretty much just blow him away.
Yeah. And interestingly enough, that Lifestealer, I mean, he's been jungling this whole time, so he's actually gone 3 points into Feast. It means his Rage is not going to be maxed out for a very long time, and that's pretty important because the duration goes up significantly per rank every single time you put a point into it. So he's not going to have that crazy 6-second Rage. It's only going to be 3 at the moment. I mean, the difference between like a 10-second and a 5-second BKB is huge, so the difference between a 6-second Rage and 3 is also huge. Unicorn could potentially be the first blood. The follow-up stun's going to be there. They're just throwing out the black hole. They are out for blood. DD, give him a kill, and it's going to go to Sakshka. So that Leshrac getting a little bit of extra farm and getting Unicorn off the board.
Yeah, really good rotation coming out of Enigma. They managed to get a good black hole, because early game it's so hard to get it silent and actually just manage to dodge the stun. Gets the Nightmare though, or the Brain Sap.
The Goblak is just standing over here. He's like, I don't know what I'm going to do about this, but I'm really fast and I'm a tree, so I want to check things out. Sakshka's actually making it up to the high ground. Much of the Ancient stack has pretty much already died. They were trying to snipe something, but I don't think they're going to be too successful. Sakshka really dangerously positioned right here, but Gyrocopter is behind them. Do they want to try to go on this? Miracle does manage to land a stun. Sakshka taking some damage from the Dragon Slave. Armor's going to be there from Goblak. They all want to try to retreat. Miguel only interested in killing his Ancient stack, basically, and it looks like AL will successfully defend it.
Yep, he's going to get quite a bit of money from that. If he gets some lucky rolls on the Dragons as well, he's actually going to be able to finish off his BOTs right now if he actually gets some high amounts of gold. But at this point, it's still a really even game. I mean, it's only 1 kill so far, and it went to DD at this point, which they need. They really need to get those kills, because in the late game, AL is going to be so much stronger.
Well, the thing that kind of stands out to me at the moment, it's like, you look at the net worth and you look at the CS, and you're like, yeah, that Tinker just killed, what, 3 or 4 Ancient stacks? He's barely ahead of the Gyrocopter, and the OD is out-farming the Lone Druid. So in terms of the laning phase, DD are actually getting the better exchange. In the very beginning, it wasn't by much, but getting the small things, like getting that first blood, especially on Unicorn, of all the heroes, one of the ones who has to lead the charge, just getting little things like that can really put you in a huge, advantageous position. So now it's like, AL, they have to make something happen, maybe pressure a tower, abuse March of the Machines, and how difficult it is to engage into that, and potentially try to get some map control.
One thing I forgot to mention is that I really like them using the black hole in mid, because early game it's just so hard to get good black holes going.
Yeah.
And you're not going to need them too much because there's not going to be those big 5-on-5 clashes. So just getting a kill with every black hole, maybe if you can get 2, is super good, but 1 kill is more than enough for the first black hole.
No, I totally agree. It's like, how often do you see a big team fight before 10 minutes? It's like not very often. The most you're going to have is like a tri-lane versus a tri-lane, and even then, it's going to be difficult to find that opening. But Funzy, mech already done at 10.5 minutes into the game. He's got 500 gold on top of that. The nice thing about mech on OD is you'll pretty much always have mana to use it. It's not like even heroes like Chen or Treant or Enigma, any of the other heroes on the side of DD that could have gotten it. He's never going to have that mana issue. And he's just strutting his stuff right here. I mean, he's like, yeah, I got a mech, it's fine. I can pretty much just do whatever I want. And because of the fact that he actually made that from disassembled Tranquils, that makes the way that they're utilizing this hero just really, really nice.
to get power treads after this, or just go into 4-staff if you actually don't want to finish off the power treads. Could just go 4-staff into BOTs maybe to be able to get even more mobility on the hero, but a 4-staff will most likely see coming the way of the OD as well.
There's some pressure being applied to top, and they're doing some damage to the tower, but of course the Treant armor was there. I don't think that DD is actually going to try to defend this, although they do glyph. Seems like they're just trying to buy some time. Not necessarily in the best position to push anything themselves, or counter at all for that matter, as Goblak is vigorously defending his ward here by walking at Miracle. So looks like DD is going to be winning some ward control, at least at the moment. But first, 2 towers actually go down, and it looks like it was a 1-for-1 trade, as Mania is unable to deny the tier 1 bottom.
A very even trade then, since they actually managed to get the tier 1 tower bottom as well. Silent managed to push it down, so not a bad trade for any of the teams. And Funzy just keeps on farming away on this OD. He's going to be so big at one point. He's getting power treads up right now, and if he moves into 4-staff, he's going to be ready to fight and just go 5-man if they want to.
I'm really scared right now for AL. Like, a farmed OD is one of the scariest things in the world to fight against, especially pre-BKB. That's like the one hero where you're like, you expect his damage output, but at the same time, you get caught off guard by it, if that makes sense. It's like he does so much damage, especially at this stage in the game, where he's had total free farm. He's sitting at level 9. Once he gets 10, he's going to start putting points into his orb, and that's when his damage output really just goes through the roof. A good Sanity's Eclipse is one thing, but a sustained damage on one target totally ignores armor. You just die. Like, there's nothing else you can do about it. And DD, they still don't have their Treant level 6 yet, which is a little bit of a bummer. But once he does, oh, actually just hit it, 22 experience in. So yeah, as I was saying, it looks like he does finally get his ultimate. So now the Overgrowth is there. They're going to have the Gyrocopter ultimate as well. So you're going to have Call Down, Black Hole, Mass AoE on the side of DD.
One of the biggest things going the way of DD is that the supports on AL are such low levels. Level 4 on the Bane, level 5 on the Lina. If they hit level 11 on the OD and then just go 5-man push, that Sanity's Eclipse is just going to blow both supports away. Yeah. It's like they're not even going to be able to use their spells. They're just going to die instantly. And then you have 3 heroes that are quite good at defending, but you only have 1 BKB user. So the Tinker is going to take quite a bit of damage out of that as well. So, like you said, this OD is going to do so much damage.
Well, time goes on, and AL are continuing to farm as best they can, but even in the last hits category, it's like Gyro is 83, and Funzy on the OD is sitting at 82, and the highest, basically, on the side of AL is Miggle, who is the safe lane Tinker. But you can just see how they're not really getting ahead quickly, but they're consistently getting ahead pretty much at every single stage, just slowly ramping up. Over the last 7 minutes, they've basically accrued a 3,000 gold advantage, and that's with even towers, basically. So outside of the first blood, and the only kill, it's pretty much their entire laning phase and their efficiency in farming that's pretty much getting them ahead. And that's with an Ancient stacking Dire side and a Tinker killing it.
Mm-hmm. And now Enigma moving into mid as well, so they're just going to go for this push. Blink Dagger being picked up by Tinker, which is really good for his positioning. But this tier 1 tower should go down. We actually got most heroes here right now. So it's going to be a 5-on-5 clash even.
Well, they popped the glyph. We can see some damage being done to the bear right there. Funzy doing what he can. Edict is popped. Wow, nice deny coming out of Unicorn right there with the bear. Very, very nicely done. Was not expecting that, actually. So a little bit of extra gold taken away from the side of DD, but they really want to kill this bear. I think they will succeed in doing so. Yeah, Splitter's going to be there. Sakshka ends up picking up the kill. But just getting that tower down in general, revoking that map control, that's like one of the more important towers, especially because that one is actually the closest tower to the Roshan pit in general. The tier 1 and tier 2 bottom are pretty close as well, but that one is like, that's the tower you want to react to if DD decides to go for it. And with their massive AoE combo, it wouldn't surprise me to maybe force it a bit earlier than normal.
They could even try and force tier 1 top now, if they want to. Miguel is up here, split pushing already, or pushing the lane out a bit. Maxed out Rocket, maxed out March, so he's doing quite a bit of damage when he actually wants to push them away from the tower. But we pointed it out earlier, the mechanism has been up for quite some time, so they can just brute force these towers down.
And we haven't really talked a whole lot about him, but Silent, currently sitting on the highest overall CS right now. He's got his drums, he's got Yasha and FaZe, and a ring of Bacillus as well, and he's level 11. So he's got 2 points into that cooldown. The damage output is going to be pretty insane. In the meantime, Infest into Miguel in this top lane. Oh, they want to go for Leshrac. They're going to get him. Sakshka has no idea. Suddenly, a lifestealer, and the burst damage comes out. The tree armor is there, though. Sakshka's so unbelievably tanky with this on the mech from Funzy. Are you kidding me? They're going to save him. And they might be able to even get a turnaround kill out of it as well. Mania trying to TP out, gets rooted in place. Unbelievable turnaround coming out from DD right there. And that's got to be, like, demoralizing when you go for that and you don't get it. Like, I'm like, that reaction, man.
It's a support as well. Like, it's a Leshrac support. You should be able to kill him. Oh, Silent might be in some big trouble in bottom. He's going to drop the cooldown, though, so the slow is going to come out. Is he going to get away as well?
Unbelievable,
oh my
man.
God.
That has got to be like, you commit 3 to 4 heroes to killing Silent. You don't kill him. You get the Blink Tinker. You go point blank onto Sakshka. Just how fast Galblack's reaction was, how fast Funzy TP'd with the mech, and they get a kill out of it too. Like, that was sick.
Their advantage is just going to grow so much right now. These pick-up kills would have been so important for AL to get. Even though Leshrac is just a support, I mean, he's still level 8 on the Leshrac compared to the supports of AO, who's level 6, both of them. So he's still higher level than both of them, and he's getting some farm. He's higher net worth than the Lifestealer at this point.
And
so
the hero level too, man.
Yeah.
Like, look at that. 12 on the Gyrocopter, 11 on the... Oh, no. Silent could be in some trouble here. It could be the first death right now coming out for DD. He's doing quite a bit of damage, though. Funzy going to be... Or, excuse me, not Funzy. Miggle going to be teleporting in the back, but Funzy's going to be coming in from the other side. They really want to try to turn this around. They just can't find kills. This Treant Protector is just the savior right now. And it looks like Miggle will now actually be teleporting in. And they want to try to go for this tier 1 tower. Is there going to be enough down here from the side of DD to actually defend this? Mania comes out from his infestation inside of that creep. We're going to see Sakshka teleporting in. He is level 9, so he's got the max rank of his stun. Ward goes down behind the tower. We're going to see an Astral Imprisonment as well. Laguna Blade goes off right into Sakshka. He's walking right into March of the Machines. Are they going to be able to save him this time? Funzy actually being focused down. He gets rooted in place. Mania trying to do what damage he can. The Midnight Pulse is actually dropped, but again with the Treant armor, they just can't get a kill. The bear solo on HP. I actually think it died to the tower right there. Yep, oh, he is looking very sad right now, but still, man, like, the amount of saves currently in this game is ridiculous.
The Treant armor in the early game is just so damn strong, especially now when it's maxed out. He's level 7, almost level 8. It just blocks so much damage. I mean, they survived the march for so much longer. It's ridiculous how strong that armor is in the early game. And if they can keep this going and just keep forcing towers down and keep winning fights, that Treant is really going to have an effect on this whole game. Because he usually fades off quite early on, or in the mid game he usually fades off, but if they can just keep this going, stop the farm from AO, then he's going to be so strong.
Yeah, I gotta say, Goblack's reactions overall, just his map awareness, that's like the one thing you have to have when you're playing the new iteration of Trees, to be able to just armor people on demand, make sure you keep them safe from any ganks like that, especially the one top. Like, reacting that quick, like, there is no business Sakshka had living there. He should have been dead pretty much for sure. But, I mean, Ale is still doing a pretty good job of keeping all the lanes pushed. I mean, the only lane that is basically in the favor of DD right now is the bottom lane, and it's getting pushed out currently by a couple of members of Ale. So it's going to be going back towards the tier 1 in a second, so we'll see if DD want to poise some kind of defense for that. But overall, Ale's still doing a decent job of controlling, but they're not getting anything from the movement, and that hurts because heroes like Lina and Bane, they take advantage in the fact that you can take these early game fights and get kills, but there haven't been any kills.
The biggest problem for AL is that they're moving as 5 right now. They're not farming all their heroes at the same time. They're farming the Tinker and the Lone Druid. The Lifestealer is barely getting any farm whatsoever. He's 4.6k net worth at this point. And DD's just going to go for a trade here. They're going to go for tier 2 in mid instead. And they still got Black Hole up, they got Sanity Eclipse up, and Overgrowth. So this could be very bad if AL actually tries to defend this. But their pushing power isn't strong enough to actually go trade for another tier 2.
Yeah, conversions, Edict as well. That pushing potential in itself is very, very strong. Miguel spamming some March of the Machines here, trying to get the creep wave down, and he's doing a pretty good job. He's actually eating away very slowly at Funzy and Goblack's health, but they get the tower. Bucking Mad ends up getting the kill, and everyone's just going to go ahead and fall back. So, all in all, DD traded tier 1 for tier 2, definitely a good trade, and Bucking Mad at 20 minutes in, he's got his BKB completely finished. and he has 1100 gold. So if he wants to go for a BKB at that stage, really all he has to do is make sure that he hits the Bane, and it's going to be really, really just a free black hole for him. So whatever targeting he decides to go for, it's going to be quite nice. And Miguel still has a friend inside of him. See if he wants to try to go on this, but it's still very risky. Like, he can't aggressively blink unless he knows that he's going to be outnumbering his opponent. Yeah, they're going to smoke up here. Oh, they're going to go right behind. Unicorn getting caught out all by himself. Who's going to be the first one to get focused down? It looks like it's going to be Rise. He's caught all by himself between Goblak, basically, and Silent. But on the other side, Bucking Mad pops the BKB. He managed to get a black hole on the Bear. The Sanity's Eclipse comes out from the back. Funzy and Silent both securing themselves some kills here. Mania actually going to be getting the kill on Sakshka as well. And Silent doing all the damage in the world. Basically, it's 2 for 2 as it stands right now. Never mind, make that actually a 3 for 3. Everyone from either team basically just going down here. Silent desperately trying to chase down that very, very pesky Lifestealer, but not going to be able to find him. And Funzy and Silent both live through the fight. The Lone Druid and the Lifestealer actually both live through the fight too. So in terms of even exchanges, that's pretty much as even as it gets.
Surprisingly enough, it was an even fight there. Even though we've said that DD has the stronger fight. But it was just that the split from AO was so good. We didn't see a super big black hole. We got it on the Lina and the Lone Bear only. And then the Sanity Eclipse was only on the Lina, so no damage came out on the Lone Druid or the Nikes. So it's just very hard for DD to get any damage out, but just a really good split up from AO there, forcing a 3 for 3 trade, which is very nice for them.
Yeah, given the circumstance, that's like a godsend, especially when you see a tree coming from the back of the fight and you're like, oh crap, you know, and then all of a sudden DD want to go straight for the supports, they go for Rise straight away, the Lina went down, and then the most important heroes live through the fight from both teams. That's like unheard of. Typically, you focus the heroes that are the highest priority and you want to try to get them down, but maybe they were just assuming Bane would have been a little bit too powerful. Midnight Pulse going to be dropped to eat some trees here, looking for Miracle, but unfortunately Bucking Mad's not going to find him. Teleport coming in from Miguel. Do they actually want to go on this, or are they just doing it as more of a we want to push this lane tactic? Seems like it's going to be the latter, but still, it's 5 to 3. Not necessarily the most action-packed game, but a lot of that is due to Goblak. If you haven't seen a lot of kills, it's his fault.
Yeah, that tree and armor is just doing so much work in this early game. Into the mid game even as well. It's just been helping out so much, saving people all over. And at this point, it's just going to keep on being a passive game. The good thing, though, for AL is that they want to keep it a passive game, because if they can get up enough farm to be able to outlast or withstand the fight of DD and just all the magic damage, they're going to be in a really good position.
Well, I do have to point out that right now there was another ancient stack actually being taken there by the Tinker, and Miguel's going Dagon. Like, he's Dagon right now. He doesn't have a 4-staff. He's like, forget that. I need damage. I'm going Dagon. We want the pick potential. And going for a bursty item against a Treant is actually pretty smart, because auto attacks are not going to seal the deal ever, especially if you get that armor up. So you need the extra burst to be able to finish anyone on the side of DD at this point. So that's pretty much one of the only options he has. And dear Lord, Funzy is farmed. He almost actually has an entire Hex at 24 minutes in with his mech already done. And he's not even the most farmed hero on his team. But in the meantime, AL, they're going for Roshan right now. And it looks like, as it stands right now, DD want to try to fight this. Oh, Goblak could be a little bit overextended here. If the bear gets a root, and he does, it could be really bad for Goblak. But no, they're actually going to decide to just back off instead. The reaction of DD was actually quite slow there. AL had an opportunity. They missed it. They didn't have enough vision of middle lane because it was pushed too close to the base. They couldn't see that the Enigma actually was lagging behind, and so was Silent.
One of the biggest things that I feel is going to be a real game changer this game is if the Enigma actually picks up a Blink Dagger as its next item. Because if they can get some good initiation, just jump on them, they're going to have so much follow-up with the Sanity Eclipse, the Overgrowth, the Cooldown. They're going to have amazing follow-up for that. But they need something to like just jump in and actually get the fight started. Because at this point, there is no Invis up on the Tree and Protector, so they can't run in Invis either. And even if there is, there's most likely going to be sentries from AL.
I'll talk about your all-time backfires. AL gets Roshan to half health just for DD to swoop in and take it out from underneath them. So Funzy for the next fight, he's got an Aegis. He's got his Scythe done, just walking back into the pit to go ahead and pick it up. Dire does manage to get a tower kill, but this next push is going to be absolutely devastating coming out of DD. They have a Scythe, they have 2 lives on their OD, level 2 Sanity's Eclipse. They have every single team fight thing that they possibly need. If they wanted to, Bucking Mad could actually go for Blink Dagger in the meantime. He's going to be focused down here pretty heavily, extremely late into BKB, and the Bear gives him a bash as well on the way out. But Funzy in the meantime, he picks off the Bane, so it's a 1-for-1. Enigma probably a little bit more important of a kill, actually, than the Bane, but he buys right back. Maybe he can get the Black Hole off as soon as he TPs. Is he going to go for it? Oh my goodness, the damage output on Leshrac. He just gets evaporated right away. Unicorn trying to run away from Funzy. Will he actually be able to get away in time? Mania currently being chased down by Silent and Bucking Mad. Black Hole still up if they want to try to use it. He wants to kill anything that he can. He's going for the Bear. He goes back to Unicorn. Mania is still running as well. I don't think they're going to be able to kill Mania. He does have that magic immunity. Unicorn running back into the safety of March of the Machines, but Funzy just simply doesn't care. Is he going to be able to get the kill? Nope. Unicorn TPs away, and Mania likewise is going to be able to escape. So I thought that he might just throw out the Black Hole straight away just to secure a kill, but instead he holds on to it. Mania doesn't end up dying. Poor Leshrac just evaporated there.
I think the Sanity Eclipse just insta-killed Alina.
Yeah.
Because he was actually under the tower, and then the Sanity Eclipse came out, and he was just gone.
Where'd he go?
He just, yeah. And I guess that's why he didn't want to use the Black Hole, because Alina actually got killed instantly, and he wasn't sure if he was going to get the Lone Druid or not. So a good decision, like you said, to just hold on to that Black Hole just for a bit more. He's getting closer to his Blink Dagger if he actually wants to go for that. But we'll have to see. He's at 1600 gold right now on the Enigma, so 500 gold away from a Blink Dagger.
And AL still kind of fighting here. It's really surprising because you look at the golden experience and you're like, DD has a pretty significant advantage, like 7,500 gold, sitting at probably about the same in overall experience. But they haven't really been able to take like the decisive fight. Sure, they've had some pretty good map control for the entire game. They get the Roshan, but they're still tier 2 standing from Ale. They still have time to really bring themselves back into this. Unicorn is actually getting pretty farmed to the point where even if the OD manages to get like a BKB to prevent that burst damage coming out from like the Lina or just taking damage from Fiend's Grip and such, he can get that up, but then the Bear is still going to be able to bash him, root him in place, and just overall be annoying. So he's going to have to rely on Silent at that point, who we can currently see farming some woods right there. Actually, not even his own team's woods, but nonetheless, I feel like Ayla is actually playing this a lot better than they should be given the position that they're in.
Blink Dagger being picked up now by the Enigma, so he has that initiation power that DD's really been looking for just to be able to get into the fights and get him started. But one of the heroes, I mean, we mentioned Silent a bit, but he's almost got a butterfly finish off now as well, with the Yasha and a BKB. So his physical damage output is going to be massive with that flat cannon. And that's going to be the big thing. How are they actually going to be able to kill Silent once he finishes off his BKB or his butterfly?
That tower damage, man. Edict. Pretty good ability. Just kill the tier 2 pretty much immediately. Sakshka picks up the kill. Tier 1 going to be pressured by Ale in the meantime. DD just don't care. They're going for the base. They just want to go for the base straight away. Funzy currently eating some tower shots right now, but the Aegis is actually going to be fading pretty darn soon. So they want to make this push happen sooner rather than later. Goblak taking some damage from the rocket spam. March of the Machine's going to be there. Mania managed to get the tier 1 mid in the meantime, but this tower is actually going to go down. They just let it go completely. They're not even going to... Actually, they already used the glyph, and in the meantime, middle lane, Sakshka taking quite a bit of damage here from Mania as well. Is he going to be able to live through this? He's trying to run away. The Infest damage from Mania going to be enough to get the kill. So Mania, currently 4-on-1 right now. Bucking Mad in the high ground, looking to potentially chase. And Mania didn't see him. They didn't have any wards right there, but they turn around. They want to try to help Funzy. Aegis is going to be popped right away. The overgrowth is there. The Hex on the Bear. Can they kill him again? Bucking Mad comes in with the Black Hole, but he immediately gets Fiend's Grip. The Sanity's Eclipse comes off from Funzy, and the damage is just too much. They simply cannot stand against this. 3 down right away. Tinker ends up buying back. Silent, BKB pop. He's chasing down Mania. He wants to try to end this pretty much right now. There is no glyph from the side of Ale. Brilliant armlet toggle coming out of Mania, and he'll be able to make it back into the base. Miggle back into the fight. Maybe a little bit over-aggressive as he forfeits his life. There's no buyback at all coming out from him this time. He already bought back once. The Bear retreating back inside of the base. And this could be a huge problem for Absolute Legends.
Silent's just doing so much damage in this fight. I believe he actually got a double kill. He's up to 4,000 gold right now. So Butterfly finish off straight away. He can even pick up a Demon Edge off that if he wants to once they kill off this tower. Nightmare gonna go out on him. And he might be able to get the pickup killer.
Oh, they want to go for it. The armor is there. They're doing quite a bit of damage. Silent gets bashed and rooted in place. They're not going to be able to save him. The tier 3 ends up going down. They're trying to find any other consolation kill that they can. They manage to stop Bucking Mad's TP, but Miracle gets melted by Sakshko with the Pulse Nova coming in from the back and lands a stun to boot. So they lose Funzy. They lost their Gyrocopter in the process. They get a tier 3, but they also force the buyback out of the Tinker. So Miguel not going to be getting any other items anytime soon.
And they did crack the base open in 2 lanes as well.
Yeah.
So the towers are not going to be the problem. They just have to go up on high ground, kill the Tinker, and kill the Rax. That's pretty much what they got to do to be able to get these Raxes down. Just kill off the Tinker as fast as possible. And they got the Blink Dagger on the Enigma like we pointed out. So they got the initiation for sure. We'll just have to see when they want to go for it. They might just wait out for another Aegis, but they might just go straight away as well.
I gotta say, this game is like, it's delivering right now for me. I mean, AL, yeah, they're getting chipped away, and there's a huge lead for DD right now, but they're still in the game, which in itself is pretty amazing, given that since the get-go, DD has pretty much been ahead. There's not been really any point in the game where DD has not been ahead, but it's 32 minutes in, and you can still feel that AL is fighting. Like, they're not just sitting there and forfeiting their base entirely. Yeah, they lost some tier 3s, but they fight everybody, or every battle, and they just push them out repeatedly.
I mean, they always get kills in the fights. It's never just a clean sweep. It's never a complete team wipe. They always manage to get some kills, so they're still in this game for sure. It's just that it's going to be very hard for them to actually push out once it's time for that. They got the Tinker, of course, and the Marches. It's just that them cracking the base themselves, it will be tough, but they still got a Lone Red Bear as well, so it's going to do quite some damage.
Yeah, Unicorn is one of the shining hopes right now of AL, considering the fact that Tinker just lost a lot of money. Like, he was working his way towards a Hex. Now it's like Unicorn, Mania, you two really have to deliver in these next couple of fights. And Mania's remained pretty good on farm. Like, he's working his way towards a Desolator right now. He's already got the drums and the armlet. But his damage output is still something that you have to worry about. And that last fight mid that we saw, when Bucky Mad got the black hole, the fact that Ryze was in such a good position to stop that black hole was like a godsend. It was honestly just jumping the gun a little bit if you were Bucking Mad. He just really, really wanted to save Funzy in that situation. So you can't always expect that to happen. So in that case, you have to make sure that at least 2 or 3 members of AL are consistently at the top end of the farm, which they're doing a pretty good job of.
Miguel just doing some split pushing down in the bottom lane, just keeping the push, because DD is just moving in towards mid now. They're going to try and crack the base, but Mania's actually down in bottom. He's got a TP though, but he's got a Desolator finish as well, so he's going to be able to do quite some damage to this tier 3 tower in bottom lane.
But can they stop this push? Light Strike Array going to be off the mark. Silent taking a little bit of damage. Mania continuing to push into the tier 3 as well, but unfortunately for him, he cannot push as fast as the entire team of DD. But March of the Machines proving to be a very large deterrent right here. Mania actually gets the kill on the tower, and he's going to single-handedly force Funzy back. Not sure if it's what he wanted, though. The Sanity Eclipse is going to be there, but it's not quite enough damage. Mania gets the armlet off. He wants to try to turn it around. BKB immediately popped, and there's the black hole. Miggle forced to cancel his boots to travel to that creep wave, and they get a very, very high-value kill, a sad lifestealer, and a very dead one.
But still a really good push from him. Getting a tier 3 tower, forcing them back, not losing their own racks is just really, really big for them. As Silent actually gets a pick off on Lina in middle, as they're still fighting there.
Yeah, Godblack throws out the leap seed. Sakshka still continuing to chase. They want to go for Unicorn right here. The Bear's actually pretty low as well. Nightmare going to go off onto Silent. The Bear actually gets a bash on Sakshka and does eventually end up going down. So Silent getting a little bit of extra gold there. Evaporates the creep wave. Second Bear is out. This is their last chance. This is basically, they have Glyph, but they absolutely have to defend this. There's no way they can't. All 5 heroes currently have from BD. Not many ultimates, but they certainly have everyone there, and yeah, the Bear just given away for free. So with the Bear dead, there is not really much damage coming out at all from Lone Druid. I dare say this could be GG right here.
This could be GG, but it's at least going to be another Rax. They get a sheep out of Miguel though.
Yeah, they want to go for it. Fiend's Grip onto Silent, but Ryze just simply can't stand against the damage of Calldown. Sakshka turns around for the 1 auto attack, and the second set of racks is going to be going down here, expecting Ale to call GG here in just a second. But a valiant defense, but it just felt like the whole game, Ale were fighting this uphill battle. They could never really get ahead.
It felt like they had to be a lot more aggressive in the laning stage and just try to get more out of this aggressive trialing that they had, because that was pretty much their hope. Because if they let DD farm, the OD was going to get strong. That was just supposed to happen. And then, of course, a BKB came up on the Enigma, and they just got stronger and stronger, and then they went and 5-man pushed. So AO was always behind on farm, and they just never really managed to accomplish any aggression like they did in the Roxas game, where they just kept on pressuring Roxas all the time. They never really managed to do anything like that in this game.
Well, AL, they're sticking it out until the end. They currently have 2 sets of racks down. Interestingly enough, their tier 2 bottom is still alive, so if DD want to go through that way, they're going to have to take down that tower first. Leshrac picks up an Aghanims, and we also had a chance to see that Enigma was going to be getting his Lincolns pretty soon, and of course he's already had his Blink for quite a while. And once he has the Lincolns, it's like, well, dang it. Now we can't even stop the Black Hole with Fiend Script if we wanted to. So, last rush end of the game, most likely. Funzy. Going to be picking up the Aegis here. He's got a BKB of his own that he actually showed in bottom lane when Mania turned around to try to get a kill. But DD just, again, playing incredibly solid. Their lanes got him ahead, not by a huge margin, I would say, but enough to the point where they felt confident in taking these engagements. And the MVP for me has got to be Goblak. Like, in the beginning of the game, how many kills would AL have gotten if he wasn't playing Tree?
They would have got first blood and at least 1 or 2 extra pickoff kills, for sure. I mean, the Soxia in top lane, that was just like, he was supposed to be dead, but then Tree and armor and mech, so just overall really good reaction from DD. And like you said, Goblak has just been playing so well this game.
Well, this is going to be the last hurrah right now from AL. If they can't win this fight, then the game is pretty much, for most intents and purposes, over. But the tier 2 taking quite a bit of damage. They're going to be able to catch Bucking Mad all by himself. The Laguna Blade expended as well as the Fiend Script. They're going to get a sleep off on a Silent. The Overgrowth is actually going to be there. Mania currently stuck in place. Hex off on a Gobbleaxe. Sandy's Eclipse is going to be there. Silent now gets out from the Nightmare. He pops the BKB, throwing down the call down. Unicorn taking quite a bit of damage. Mania actually already gone. Rise comes back in, wants to be able to pick off Sakshka, but even 4 versus 5, you can see the farm difference. DD just have so many more items than AL do right now. And if they could have found that pick maybe like 10, 15 minutes ago, maybe they would have been able to get something done. But I gotta say, at least they got some towers down. Empire couldn't get like any towers. I think they still all held all 6 at the end of that game. At least AL managed to get a few.
Yeah, AL really put up a fight, and they played really well. It's just, it wasn't enough because they didn't get enough aggression out in the early game that they needed to get out, because it's so hard against the Treant, though. That's the problem. It's so hard against that armor to actually get aggression out, especially when you have a Bane and a Lina. I mean, Bane is a good setup, but it's still not enough nuke until you're level 6, and both supports were so under-leveled.
Yeah.
So it's just very hard for them to manage to get that aggression out.
Well, very well played once again by DD. They are on a roll today. Have yet to drop a single game. They actually just took out Empire 2-0, if you guys hadn't watched that previously. And now they're going to go up 1 game advantage right now from AL. Just waiting for the game to end, of course. But I got to say, they continue to impress.
Yeah, they really do. Their drafting is just really good, and their overall play as well is... They're playing really well.
Well, Funzy, of course, ending the game with the best item. If you guys didn't know, it's called Sage and Yasha. You should build it on every hero in every game, because it's amazing. But, yep, that's game number 1. Put it on the scoreboard, 23-9 in 39 minutes. Not the most action-packed game I think we've ever seen, but very overall solid play coming out of DD. The lane advantage, just never, ever let it go. It was like they got ahead, they stayed ahead, they won the game.